And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. And we're live. So, Lauren, thanks for joining me on the Fighting Fit show. I hope all's going well. So why don't you introduce yourself, Lauren, and all your wonderful accolades to the people?
Oh God, I hate this part. Well, I'm Lauren Meehan, I'm 25. I am a hairdresser in Edge Creative, Dundalk, and I play Gaelic football at Roche Emmets Gaelic Football Club, and I am a gym enthusiast at Fighting Fit.
Brilliant stuff. And you, at the Christmas party this year, you won Athlete of the Year because you or we're just bloody smashing it all year. Again, you're playing for Roche Ladies, and you've been kicking ass. How did last season go for you?
Oh God, we had such an uplifting season last year. We got to two finals and a semi-final of the three competitions. So we were well on our way. Literally, kind of from the backlash of 2 years of like being relegated and loss after loss, we literally completely pulled ourselves back, and we literally nipped it in the bud. We didn't win any of the competitions, but for us it wasn't even about winning in the end. Obviously it would have been icing on the cake, but nobody realizes the work that we had to put in off the field just to get that far. So like we exceeded all expectations we probably had for ourselves and that others had for ourselves, and that nearly meant more to us than anything, just to kind of put our name back in the league, back in the competitions.
It's all about the journey, not the destination.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Cool. And then you were nominated for All-Star of the Year.
Oh, I was nominated for an All-Star last year, with some of the team, and actually we done really well. I think it was 3 of the girls won their All-Stars, and we also had a player of the Louise Byrne was player of the Division 2, so it was really good. We had a really great year as a club.
That's deadly. And what is kind of what's the determining factors for a kind of nomination for All-Star? What are you looking for?
I don't actually know how the All-Stars are nominated or picked. I think it's like other managers from other clubs, and then I think your own club put them forward. I think it comes down to like the way a lot of sports run this, down to politics at the end of it all, who wins. Yeah. You might say that's me saying that through gritted teeth, but it's, I suppose they look for the players that kind of like stand out throughout the matches and stuff like that, and you see the commitment that comes from players. Like that's, well, I'm assuming that what managers will put you forward for. Yeah. And yeah, that's it, I suppose.
Yeah, cool. So basically, kind of, great attitude, always showing up, great team player, great performer. And then people always as well. I know coaches in my club growing up, you get an awful lot of brownie points for, people love the underdog story for maybe, been at X, but it's, it's that climb when you see someone they're actually really making leaps and bounds and improvements. So coaches kind of, I'm sure keep an eye out for that. As well as that, you did the white collar boxing with us. How did you get on there?
I loved it. Absolutely, every second of it. It was a terrifying experience to go into. Like, when I first asked to do it, I was like, oh my God, I don't know. Well, even the whole thing of just like being in the ring, it was going to be all eyes on me, and I don't really like that. I kind of like to drift off in the shadows, really, in ways. But the physical, and the physical training with the boxing, I absolutely loved. I've never, I would be quite a high intense trainer between football and the gym, and boxing was next level. I gained a whole new respect for boxers in doing it, but I loved every second of it. And getting hit in the face is not nice. Never will be. I remember the first time through the training, and it came to the first night where we were actually allowed to physically hit each other, like in the face, and I bawled.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
I
ball, you
bawled, and I
ball,
remember
you
like,
balled there or afterwards?
no, I like bawled like literally after I came out of the ring. Like I was like physically, like I was shaking, I was shook to the core. But it was even like, it wasn't even just getting hit. It was actually going as physically hitting that other person too. Like, but like
Mm.
wanting to not so much hurt them, but like you wanted to win, to
That's what it
win.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
And
like I said, it's like with Gaelic, like it's the same as goals and points, but the cost
Mhm.
of a goal and a point in boxing is actually, like I said, physically hurting somebody.
Yeah, and I just felt like horrific because, like, don't get me wrong, like I am thick as a double ditch, and but when it actually came down to like say physically hurt someone, I was like, no, I can't do this. And like when I came out of the ring, Stephen was laughing at me and was like, it's okay, this is like normal. Like people
Yeah,
don't like getting hit in the face, and they generally don't like hitting other people in the face either. But he was
yeah,
like, look, part and parcel of the game, you're ready for it. But and like I really really loved the training, it was amazing. And then the actual night itself, like that took out, like the whole experience was amazing. And I was the second last fight, I was the last ladies fight, the second last fight of the night. And oh god, it was the longest night
oh,
ever.
really?
Like just in terms of nerves, like it was
Yeah,
amazing watching all the fights. But waiting for my fight then, I remember I was just going up and down the corridors. I had my headphones on. I actually didn't even want to watch many of the fights really, because I was like, I don't want to know what's going on. I don't want to talk to people that were there, because they were like kind of, I was prepping you, and it was like wanting to wish you good luck, like there were good intentions, but I was like, I don't want to talk to them, I can't. I was
yeah.
like
Oh,
just trying to stay away.
it's
But
crazy. You're a bundle of nerves.
oh, absolutely. And then like actually physically walking out then for your fight, and I have to say, like, I was so grateful for like a lot of my team, my friends, like my family and all were in the corner. And just hearing that roar from them was literally so uplifting, when walking out, like knowing you had that support there. And then like I was obviously doing it for them too, like just as much as myself.
Yeah.
And then like getting into the ring, then like there was obviously who I was fighting as well. Naomi, there was big suspense behind that. There was a big build up, like all through the training and everything. There was Naomi's like myself; she was very competitive,
Yeah.
So it really it added to the whole like fight, the whole atmosphere, to everything. And like I had echoed some of this back to my family and friends, so they like knew kind of what was coming, and like
Yeah.
they would have known me as kind of being this like thick, hard hitter on the pitch and stuff like that. And like not so much they knew what was to come, but they knew I wasn't going to hold back, and they knew like I was going to kind of go all in with it, like.
Yeah.
And I was, but I on the other side of that, like I knew what Naomi was capable of, and I was like, God, this is going to be
Yeah.
dog eat dog. Like I knew
War.
what was coming, and like it was an amazing night. And like finishing the fight, they called it a draw, and which I still think is unfair. I wouldn't like. I'd nearly at this stage take the loss over like obviously the win. I still will hold that there, but like it was an amazing. It really really was an amazing night. And like being in the ring, it's so weird. Like it's literally you. It's your fight. You have to figure it out on your own. And you know me and my love and mindset, like it's life in general. You like it's your fight, it's your journey, you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But like all eyes on the ring, the lights, like you literally couldn't see outside the ring. Well, I
Oh,
couldn't
geez,
anyway.
no.
It was just like it's just black all around, like it's literally just you and that opponent, and you got to figure it out. And like
Sometimes you can't even see the opponent.
I'd
It's just
say that.
it's a big blur. Like it all kind of blends together. It's like a lot of feeling. It's a lot of instinct. You're in
Yeah.
your head for an awful lot of it. You're back out here. Like it is a very surreal experience.
It is. It's really it's a very tough mental battle, the boxing, because I actually remember there was one. It could have been the last round. I was like physically exhausted, and I remember just turning around to you, and because you and Jer was in my corner, and I just like was literally shouting at you. I was like, Brandon, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you were like, yes, you fucking can. And I just let this scream out of me, like literally, because I watched back in the video after, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I hope no one's seen me doing this. I just literally let this scream out of me. It was just obviously a reaction of an emotion, and then I just went literally for the last 10 seconds. I don't know who, what, where I hit anything. I just swung, and
That is what I'm saying. It's like you're literally not even looking, you're not even thinking. It's just instinct. It just is animalistic instinct takes over.
Yeah, but it was an amazing experience, and I honestly would encourage anyone that ever gets the opportunity to go do it, because I really, really did enjoy it. And Magella McGuire that goes to the gym as well, I remember her like on the fence about doing it, and I got talking to her in the beginning, and the two of us was like, right, if you're going to do it, I'll do it. And she's like thanked me so much since the fights that she did it. Like she found that it was really uplifting for herself, and I really loved it. Absolutely. I was hemming and hawing about actually doing boxing after it. Yeah. But then my mom was having none of it. She was like, you're my only girl. She was like, your hands is your job, like with the hairdressing, and she was like, please don't do it to your face. And I was like, fine.
In fairness now, like, I mean, funny enough, like, out of loads of sports and loads of athletes that I know, boxers seem to have the lowest injury risk. You know, it's like you get a busted nose, you get a busted lip, you get a black eye, but for the most part,
maybe I should have done it, because I am literally riddled with injury. I'm so injury prone, injured at the minute. Like, it's a disaster.
Maybe a little bit of CTE, a little bit of brain damage. So maybe
some might say I have that already.
Well, this is it. I mean, apparently there's a correlation between, you know, like professional footballers and heading the ball and CTE as well. So, you know, it's not good to get hit in the head. It's something kind of I struggle with a little bit with boxing. But when me and the lads are kind of sparring, we kind of, you know, take the power down and all this kind of stuff. So it's just, like I said, you know, I think it's worth it anyway. But it's funny to kind of come from that space in the training ground where hitting somebody would kind of leave you kind of because I think it's two things as well. It's not only you hitting them, but you guys are in a particularly strange situation, because these are all adults. These are all nice, normal people. So you probably aren't used to hitting people in the face. And these people as well also aren't accustomed to hitting people in the face. Like, if you guys were to spar me and you guys were to hit me in the face, when you hit me, you'd notice a reaction to me that wouldn't be too off-putting. But when you hit somebody who's not used to getting hit in the face, there's look of shock on their face kind of register to you, makes you feel awful. Whereas when I'm sparring like people who are used to box, I punch them. Like the head goes back and that's it. That's the end of it. Whereas when you hit somebody who's not used to it, like you're like, and then you start panicking, and then when you kind of see that happening, that can be a little bit emotional as well. And then kind of go from that kind of mindset to when the rubber meets the road and it's fight night, you want them to cry.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hell of a mental gymnastics that you do to kind of justify a win.
It was like, because that's what you could see the transition in us all from the training to fight night, because it was like, even when we were allowed to start like proper sparring, like we were still holding back in the training, and like even to a certain extent, like I was probably strategically holding back in ways, and I'm not just saying that now that it's all over, but I knew the fight that was coming, and then like Naomi and her sister like were both doing it, and even though it's like there was nothing in it, only like self-satisfaction at the end, like they were like recording me at training, like, you know, wanting to pick up on my techniques, and like which were being brushed up by yourselves. Like, I was clueless. This was my first time boxing. Like, I was no champion athlete. There was no champion athlete, but it was being done. So like this is what built up the night for me, that I was like, right, Naomi's coming for me here, like, and then so I was like trying to hold back in a sense that because I knew I was being recorded, and I was like, I can't give away my game here, you know. And now I was on the flip side of that. I was doing extra boxing PT with like yourself and Stephen, because I was like, right, I need to get myself ready for this. Like, you know, the girl's ready to go to war, and I'm not like leaving no stone unturned for myself to get there too. Yeah. So it was. So then, like, literally, it was on the night. Like, there was no holding back, because like, I suppose you're all eyes on you. Like, you didn't want to say, what would you call it, show yourself in the ring. I don't know. Like, you wanted to give it your all, and then you wanted to win.
As well as that, it's like, you know, holding back is going to leave you with punches in the face. Yeah. You know, especially like, and you know, myself and the coaches, obviously, we all picked the fights, so we tried to pick them off that, as fair as we could. And maybe if we had to put you against somebody who maybe wasn't as aggressive, you might have held back a little bit. But because we put you against Naomi and we put Naomi against you, the two of you guys both knew, if I give this girl an inch, like, she is going to punch me in the face as hard as she can. And that's obviously not ideal. So it's kind of like, Jay, it's like, if you, like, when you were saying, oh, Brandon, I can't do it, it's like, Lauren, for your own safety, you need to do this. It's like, are you going to get punched here? Like, it's not as if, like, this isn't just running a race. It's like there's a physical beatdown coming your way if you don't put your hands up, dig deep, and start breathing heavy.
Oh no, it was amazing. And like the aftermath of it, I was like, we all went to town that night into Ridley's, and I can safe to say now I was like 100% concussed in Ridley's.
Oh, really?
Like, before, like, and that was before the drink. I know I was concussed. I haven't a breeze out of the night. How I even got there, no recollection of it. And then say the drink going in did not help. Waking up the next day, it wasn't even a hangover. I literally, I'm not going to sell it for anybody here, but I had like dry blood in my nose. My lips were all like blue inside because it was like internal like bruising. My ribs, I literally went to work that week and I just kept walking around with my hands, like hand under my chest, like literally just like walking and trying to breathe. Like I was full on internally bruised. I was holy God. I was like, this is what it is to be a boxer.
Yeah, the only thing, thanks, no joke about that. And as well as that, like I said, like, you can, like, if you touch your face, like anywhere kind of that there's, thin skin and just it meets bone, the bruises there can be so tender, like on your skull and all that kind of stuff. And, it's like when you're in there, you might get, a forearm or an elbow to the head and stuff, but you don't feel it at the time.
No, with the adrenaline at all, like I didn't feel nothing. Like I came out of it and I wouldn't have said that I was sore at all. Or anything like that. And I've been through my fair share of injuries with football, and I've had, like I had to say to you, I'm a hard hitter, like on the pitch. Like I took many a shoulder. I mean, thrown across the pitch. Like I grew up with me and my only brother. I have many a bait in between the two of us. Like I have got hit before, like, but it's like you didn't register it on the night because of adrenaline.
Yeah, badass. Some experience.
It's so bad because I'm an adrenaline junkie. Like
Are you going to do another one?
I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, here, why not?
I'm not going to say no, but if other people want to go first, they can.
Yeah, here, let's do it. I mean, hopefully when all this COVID carry on ends, we'll all be able to get a little bit snugger and start sparring again. So it'll definitely be a white collar. There'll be a white collar coming, I guarantee it. So it's something to consider.
Yes, I know. I'm definitely going to go back boxing. I had texted Stephen already and said that I want to do some boxing PTs just because I love the training. I absolutely love the training with boxing, and that's my next plan. As such, when I get back into the gym, and I suppose when I get back working as well, and the money starts coming in again, that I can afford to do all these things.
Cool, good stuff. And you were saying you're what would you say? You're
What am I?
What are you? You've an avid interest in mindset.
Yeah, absolutely fascinates. Like literally fascinates the mind of me because ironic. I find it really so interesting. The more I've looked into it, and I really took a deeper look into it this year, purely for myself. And I really do love it. And the mind is so powerful. It's baffling. Like I think everyone needs to look into it a bit more in ways, and I actually think we should be taught about it more in ways. Like it's honestly not recognized enough for what it is, and the simplicity of it, too, of how easy it is to understand it in ways. Like if you like, I suppose if you start looking into it, you know what I mean by that, because it's very complicated.
Yeah, obviously the mind's really complicated, but the principles is so simple.
Yes. Because like your mind is that smart and so powerful, but it can be tricked in a second. And that alone, when I started realizing different things like that kind of opened my eyes to a lot.
Here's one you might find interesting. I was watching this interesting channel on YouTube. It's called Mindfield. A guy, I forget his second name, but it's Michael. He basically operates a channel called Vsauce as well. And there was this experiment that was done, and it was basically this guy came in. He sat at a desk with 2 actors, and there was this kind of box, and it had a red button on top of it. And someone pressed the button, they were an actor, and it gave them a shock. And I go, oh, jeez, try that. So he taps it, and he gets a shock. He's like, oh, jeez. So your man Michael comes over anyway. He's undercover, and he's basically asking, oh, how did you find it? Just touch the box. And he was like, oh yeah, touch the box. Like, would you touch it again? And he was like, oh, jeez, no, I never touched it again. Shocked like crazy. That really fucking hurt. And he's like, all right, okay, cool. So we're going to continue with your interview, and basically put him into this room by himself, just kind of TV, nothing was on, just a really boring room. And they were going to put him in there for 10 minutes, and there was just on this desk was that same box. And they left him on sitting there, and basically the whole idea was boredom. So it was a test on boredom, let's say. And he basically sat there for 2 minutes, and because he was bored for 2 minutes, he pressed the button again. And it shocked him. So again, they thought that was interesting, and they left the experiment go on again for another 2 minutes, and again he pressed the button. Yeah. And then your man Mike came in, he said, oh, how come you pressed the button? He's like, oh, just boredom, really. You know, and it kind of shows us that in an environment with very little stimulus, we will go for bad stimulus rather than no stimulus at all, which I thought was really interesting. Again, so it just stands and tests in your mind. It's like, would I make a bad decision if I had no other decision to make? And in this example,
sometimes sometimes it's a comfortable position. You stick with what you know, because you're fearful of, not say the better road, but you're fearful because of taking another option because you don't know what the ending's going to be. And so it's just kind of like you slip back into, say, your old patterns sort of thing, because you know the ending, and you know how it's going to go. Yeah,
that's actually a great way to look at it. Yeah, so just taking the road, even though it leads somewhere that you're not too happy with, just because the other road might lead to kind of greater pain.
Yeah, but sometimes as well, sometimes you have to go back to go forward. In a sense, sometimes you really have to go back there and figure it out, kind of try understand it, and accept it, and then accept it, and not so much say change it, but accept it and figure out where you want to go with it and go forward. If I don't know if that's how it kind of, if that's coming across kind of what I mean to say.
I kind of think of it like a bow and arrow. It's like, first things first, you want to go forward, you got to draw the bow back.
Yeah.
I think for people as well, that's a very painful experience, is that drawback.
Yeah, because it is. You don't want to go back there sometimes, and you don't want to relive it. But then at the same time, sometimes you are reliving it. You're giving it the power because you're playing victim to it, and you're letting it hold you back. And the more you play victim to it, you're going to stay there. And it's when are you going to get bored of playing victim to it? It's
any examples come to mind?
Any examples coming to mind? I suppose. And no. Well, okay, yeah. I told myself I was going to do this full disclosure, but it's a bit and I'm not. It's a general one in ways, and I could tie it to myself too. But it's how long are you going to play victim to an ex? Let's say kind of before moving on, being oh, I can't because of this, or he done this, or he done that, and it's as long as you keep saying he done this to me and he done that or whatever, you're going to stay there. You're not going to figure out a way forward from it. And what you can I kind of lost my chain of thought of where I was going there because I came in with this. But as long as you kind of won't take that risk at going forward, do you know what I mean? And find out the changes. I just think you do need to adapt your mindset to it, because you're going to stay there. You're going to hold yourself there, and you're going to keep conforming to those identities. And it's when is enough sympathy going to be enough for you to actually keep crying for it? Because you can say that some of us thrive off sympathy.
Yeah.
We like playing that cry because we like, you know, to hear people being like, oh, God love you, like they shouldn't have done that, like that was horrible, like what part did you play in it too, and what part are you playing in it now? Do you know, like, not to say like get up and get on with it, but like you can accept it and you can figure out where's next. Accept it. Do I sit here and do I keep crying and do I keep going around the same roundabout, or do I pick a lane and get off it? Basically, do you know, like, do I decide, right, what can I do from here forward? Like, what will I look out for next time that I know now I don't like or I don't recognize? And that's the thing, it's like you need to just like separate people from their behaviors too, but look out for patterns is what I kind of like to think. You know, it's like some things happen in that's life. You know, that's sort of way it could be a once off, and we kind of have to figure a way of forgiveness with some of these things and acceptance. But it's when it starts turning into repeat patterns that's when I think you need to look a bit deeper and be like, who do you love more, the situation or yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I know, I 100% agree with you. I kind of think of it kind of like, you know, falling and scraping your knee. You know, with the kind of whole sympathy thing. It's like, you know, when you fall and you scrape your knee, it's like, you know, get up and get on with it. You know, isn't actually, you know, the right attitude initially. The right thing that your body is primed to do is to scream, is to my fucking knee, jeez. You know, and
you have to feel the pain. You have to recognize the pain.
Exactly. And then it's after that, then, you know, it's kind of right, okay, the pain's subsiding. So, you know, maybe I'm going to put a bandage over it. And the bandage doesn't mean that the wound's healed just yet, but it does mean that I've took whatever measures I can do to stop the bleeding and for things to get worse and to stop infection. And then after that, then the body will start healing itself. And then, you know, if you've got a pretty cool scar, you might say something, oh, I see a scar on my knee, or somebody will ask, oh, what happened to your knee? You go, oh, I fell one time. You know,
I like your story over my ramble.
But again, this is pretty much kind of, it's a very something similar to what you said. And I have a tendency to kind of break things down into very, very simple ways of looking at things, you know, that are so visceral. You know what I mean? Because like your example, for talk's sake, the reason that you went off on a complicated thing is because your situation's so complicated. You know, like you said, it's like, you know, in that situation, things get very, very complicated and you're not sure how to deal with it. And that's nearly where people get lost. And it's like that case is like, right, so what do we do now? Well, you know, are you still injured? You know, does it hurt when somebody slaps it? You know, because it does, you know, it's like, but after a while, it gets better. You know, if somebody asks about it, you can tell them like you're doing now. But after that, then, you know, don't mention it again. You know, if it's not affecting you, move on. But like I said, if you have toothache and it's chronically there, you know, it's
giving power to it.
But it's probably better you tell someone. You know, it's probably better to say, oh, maybe I need advice because I have this pain. I thought I knew what it was. I thought I did. I used mouthwash and all this kind of stuff. I did what I thought I was supposed to do, but it's still not better. And that's where talking to people about your pain comes from. It's like, if you've been talking about a pain point to somebody for the last 3 years, maybe the wound's not actually healed. Maybe you didn't deal with it as well as you thought you did. And maybe, you know, it's about time. Maybe you actually need to, like I said, pull back. You need to go back and revisit it. You know, in the meantime, talk to somebody, learn some new information, revisit it, and see if there's anything that you can do about it. And then we can start moving forward. But like I said, if you want to move forward from something, you might have to go back and spend some time there and revisit it and see, okay, maybe I'm still missing something here.
And that's true. Like, there is power in talking to people, and I used to be really bad at that. Like, and I'm still in ways, but I'm getting better, if I'm honest. But it's hard to talk to people sometimes because there is that whole like stigma of like being that burden on someone. But it's good to talk, and actually there is so much power in talking and the relief of it. And sometimes like you don't even need the advice back. You actually just have to hear yourself say the physical words for you to actually realize it. And then when you've aired it out, you're just kind of like, did I actually just say that? You know, and it's like, do I really think that's okay? But in terms of what you were saying there about like, you need to like figure it out, go in it and heal it, and to be okay to talk about it. Like, that's so true. Like for example, like the other night, like yourself and my brother were fighting, we were in each other's face, like, and he was like throwing something up at me that he knew like previously would have annoyed me, you know, and I then riled him up purely by being like, and what about it? And he was like, kind of like, he was like caught, like, and like he wanted to go back. And I was like, I've done my time with that. I was like, I've sat with it, I've accepted it. I was like, I know where I stand with it. And I was like, it doesn't annoy me anymore. And I wasn't even like meaning it to be like patronizing or anything with it, but I was just like, I figured it out. I was like, it doesn't make me angry anymore. So I was like, your argument is pointless here.
You take
But
the power.
it was literally a moment for me that I was like, yeah, I can talk about it now, and it doesn't upset me anymore because I understood the situation, I understand it now, and I know where I'm going with it, you know. And so it kind of like I took that. It was funny though, because the two of us, like, we ended up laughing at the end of the argument. It was kind of like that was started over nothing really, and it was just like he like was like, I actually hate fighting you, like, you know. He was just kind of like, he was like, you just seem to have the answers. And he was like, you don't have the, like, you know, like the nitty gritty fights that you'd have with your brother and sisters, like where you just know you're annoying each other, so you say it for the point of like, you don't even mean
snap.
yeah. And he was just like, you don't have that anymore. And I'm just like, I know, because I was like, the more I've looked into mindset, I've got really better at understanding things, understanding me, you know. And it's like, there's obviously things about my past that like has happened or I haven't liked or that I've done, but like I can't change them now, and I don't live there anymore. And for anyone who does hold me back there of being, say, that person or whatever, like that's more on them than me, you know. Like, I know I'm not there anymore, and what I can do is only just kind of focus on like where I go now with my future, you know. And that's kind of the general point, like, you know. But I think everyone's kind of like that. Like, there's no point hating on ourselves for what we done yesterday. Like, we can only just focus on what we can do tomorrow, really.
Yeah, exactly. Every day has got to be a clean slate.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Well, what kind of golden nuggets? Because I know you've been doing an awful lot. You studying online now. Lockdown happened, and you switched on. What kind of you know, home truths, or what things have you learned from your mindset coach and all that kind of stuff that really hit home with you?
What hit home with me? Well, it kind of all in general, like with mindset, it kicked off when I did the mindset mastery with yourselves in January. And then I was like, right, I just talked that whole day, and it was just kind of like, it was a really good start for me going into the Kickstarter. And then I'm very routined in my lifestyle, very strategic. Like, I go to the gym before work, come home, and then it's like to football, and then it's like another day begins. Like, I'm very planned, very routine. Like, spontaneity is probably my downfall. As much as I would say, like, I like it, but it would be my downfall. So whenever then lockdown kicked in and it was like my whole routine was taken off me, I freaked. Like, I actually freaked. I was crying for like the first 2 weeks, and my mom like only said it to me a few weeks after, kind of when I came around from it. She's like, Lauren, I didn't know what I was going to do with you the first 2 weeks, because I was crying. I was working out twice a day. I was going for a run in the morning, a cycle in the evening. I was like, what do people do with their days? Because I wouldn't be a big one for TV. So I wasn't sitting like, and this is not against anyone who was, it's just not my routine. I wasn't sitting binge watching Netflix, or like just sitting for hours like watching TV. Or I was like, what do you do? Like, I would be more productive in my lifestyle and a bit more of movement, you know. It's just it's who I am. And so when all this was taken off me, like I couldn't do it, and like I couldn't work from home because of my job. Like, it's hairdressing, it's more like active with people. I couldn't take it home online. Like, I turned to study then, and so I was doing it in terms of like my job online, like with other like hairdressers online. They were doing different webinars and stuff like that, and Wella themselves provided online courses. So I turned to that, and then I was like, right, this is the time to look at mindset. And I kind of stripped myself back from my job as well, that in a way I was actually questioning my job and how much did I like it, you know, because it was the first time in 8 years that I've stepped outside it, because I haven't been off this long since I left school. So I kind of, you know, it's like, it's when you're in a situation you don't really see kind of what's going on. So when I stepped outside it, I was like, oh my God, like this is what it's like kind of to breathe again as such. I didn't
All the momentum just stopped.
Yeah, and I remember I was checked in a consultation with yourself, and I kind of it was a cry for help with you. I was like, Brandon, what do I do? I remember literally saying that to you. I was like, I don't know what I'm at with myself right now. I was like, I have no focus, because even when I train, I train to be fit for football. So now when it kind of came back that I was like, I have to train for myself here, like it wasn't enough, you know. And I was like, I didn't have any weights or anything at home, but that was a conscious choice I made myself. I didn't want to have any. I was kind of just stripped things completely back. But I also then, because I had been over time like started into the mindset thing, I decided to have a nosy online, and I was like, maybe I'll do an online course on that. And I found one online, and I started doing that, and it was really interesting. Really, it took me 2 months to complete it, and it literally became like a bit of a joke in the house. Like I kept being like to Mum, where I was like, I'm going down to school for a few hours, and I'd be just down and sitting with my setup like the wee office, and I took it on, and it was really interesting, because it made me go to places in my life that I suppose like I didn't want to go, like difficult places, like it was difficult questions, and like I found myself actually crying at some of it, and literally, but like not. It was tears of joy too. Do you know? It was like gratitude for things that happened in my life, as well as like sad things. Do you know? But it was like figuring it out, and but for the most part, probably one of the biggest things that figuring out for myself was emotions, like, and the power we give them that they don't need. Like, because emotions are temporary, but people look at some emotions as like being an illness, and make them more prominent in their life than what they need to. And I know obviously it happens in bigger scales, like if for people it does affect worse, but I think they can let themselves get too deep in them too. And what's worse is when they start identifying with them as a label, because then they really conform to the attitudes of that emotion. You know, and it's like everyone thrives to be happy, but everyone is happy. Like everyone's sad, everyone's depressed, everyone's anxious, and everyone's in love, and everyone's hungry. Everyone has all these different emotions, like, because they're all part of like your human composition. They're all there. They're like, do you know what? I find that a great example of it was Disney Pixar's film Inside Out,
Yeah, I love
and
that.
it's all the emotions inside the child's head. And joy being the biggest character is like, joy is happiness. It's what everyone wants to be. And she wants to be friends with everyone. She's trying to suppress all the other emotions, because that's literally how it happens. And in a sense that like the emotion you focus on is the one you're going to feel. Do you know? So if you want it, like, you can go through all the emotions every day. Do you know what I mean? You go through them in all different things. Like say, I'm happy now, I'm interested right now. You know, like afterwards I could go outside and fall and I hurt my knee. I'm sad, I'm in pain. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I'm like, say, depressed in that situation, because you know, or even like before this, like when you text me earlier on, I was like, right, are you ready for this? I was like shocked in my bedroom, and I was actually like starting to get really anxious. I was like, what am I going to say? Like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, how am I going to come across? You know, like I was anxious, but I was anxious in that moment. I'm not identifying myself as, I'm not an anxious person. I wouldn't say I'm an anxious person, and that's just not for this like situation in general. Just like life in general, I wouldn't say that I'm an anxious person.
Yeah.
I do have anxiety. It happens for me, but I don't, again, label myself as being anxious.
Yeah.
I have before. I 100% have before being like, oh no, I'm a real anxious person. I couldn't do that. Or, you know, it's the same as, I suppose, like when I label myself as like being thick as double ditch. Like I'm thick as double ditch in certain situations, but it's not like, it's not me as a person. I think we need to watch what we identify and label ourselves as. Like how we speak to ourselves is very harsh. I've noticed that about myself. Like I can be horrible to myself.
Yeah.
I think like we all can be guilty of that too. Is like the way you speak to yourself. Would you really speak to the person you care about the same way? If not, like change the way you speak to yourself, because you are you are the only person that's going to care for yourself the most. And like, it really is that statement, like, you know, a lot of people say, it's like, well, if you can't care for yourself, like, who is going to look after you, you know? And it's true, like, if you don't give yourself the time, why should someone else give you it?
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I completely agree with you about kind of, you know, these harsh labels of, you know, anxiety and stuff. Because I remember when I was younger, back to boxing again, like you kind of talked about pacing the floors and stuff before the night of your fight, and I remember kind of, obviously I did that so often, it nearly had, you know, you think you'd kind of get used to it, but it nearly had the opposite effect of me, because I spent so long in this state of panic and anxiety that state of panic and anxiety, I started associating myself with as all these negative thoughts, because they'd run so regularly in my head, like, oh, am I good enough? Can I do this? Oh, he's bigger than me. He's better than me. What if he's trained harder than I have? All this kind of stuff. And eventually that was kind of an identity that I started, you know, taking with me into life, because like you said, I hadn't got this sense. And this is a very, like, we're not talking really crazy stuff. This is really simple, you know. Don't take the emotions from that situation into your everyday life. Yet, all we do, and I did. And, you know, I'd take it into school with me. I'd take it into creating relationships and making friends, you know, and that kind of same language that I used to wire my brain before a fight was, what if they don't like me? You know, am I good enough to be their friend? You know, am I cool? Am I this? Am I that? And like I said, because I hadn't got the mental wherewithal and hadn't got, you know, a positive role model to talk me through these feelings and anxieties that I was having, to kind of say, well, look, you know, I remember because Stephen kind of talked me out of it, and Stephen was the start of me kind of budding out of that mental thing, because it was kind of like he was kind of reaching into this mindset thing, and, you know, are you nervous or are you excited? You know, it's the same response biologically, but it's how are you communicating it to yourself? And, you know, obviously maybe with my upbringing or just my own personality, I communicated to myself very negatively. You know, it wasn't, oh, it's not excitement. It's not, oh, I'm going to go in here and give my best bet, and sure, you know, if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. That was right there. It was labeling me as a certain type of person based on a certain result, you know, and we don't need to do that.
And we do that, though, in terms of, like, when the same thing kind of, if we go over the same roller coaster time and time again in our lives, we literally sit there and we do, like, be like, oh, well, it's expected of me, it's what I am, like, you know, and we then just continue to give ourselves that label, as you say, like, it was this, it was that, it was happening that often because you were, like, that frequent in it, you know, that sort of way that it settled. And it happened for me on the other end of things, is like, because, like, I'd be, I know I've said it a few times now, I'm the hard hitter on the Gaelic pitch. Like, people just, like, literally were afraid of me off the pitch. They thought I was literally this angry person that was going to kill them. But it's not. Like, when I'm on that pitch, like, that's just my emotion right there for, like, the girls. Like, when I see that ball, I see red, and if you're in my way, that's your problem, not mine. I'm just going to go and do what I have to do to get the ball. But when I'm off the pitch, it doesn't mean that I'm going to scream and shout at you and literally shoulder you as I walk past you. Like, you know, I think I'm more approachable than I am. Like, right, okay, I may have that resting bitch face, but it's kind of like, I don't associate with that. But, like, there was a time in my life where I probably did. Do you know what I mean? I would have snapped a lot angrier at people. And even in my, like, say my household, like, you know, that sort of way, my family, like, they just would know of me to, like, just flip, you know, that sort of way. But, like, I don't do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? I do at times, like, from riled enough, don't get me wrong. I let it build up and let it go.
I think we all kind of go through like a bit of an identity crisis, you know, growing up. I think
absolutely.
I think it was just part of it. And like I said, for me, I had the exact same thing. Like, I'm like, it was nearly like I nearly had a split personality. Like, I literally had me as, you know, this anxious, nervous wreck, and then I also had this person who I needed to be, who I built over time, this angry, fierce face kind of person in the boxing ring. Like, I remember one time I had Carol, one of our clients here, absolute legend, and I had her for ages, and I was just, like I said, I was just being me. I PT'd her for years, and then, you know, she thought I was just this friendly, really meek, really calm, cool, collected kind of guy, and then she seen me on the pads one day, and like I said, just flipped, you know, just because when I box, like, you know, it's a different animal. I can't be meek, I can't be well mannered in the ring, so just kind of put on this stone face. And Carol was like, Brandon, what was that? Like, who was that? What was that? Like, I never seen that before. You know, it's kind of like and for me, I seen that for me as a positive in an awful lot of ways to kind of develop that attitude. And I remember going to college, and I remember people in college. I remember this guy, literally Barry. He was here, coaching us
Barry
at one
Madden.
stage, and he literally said, "Brandon, when I first met you, I literally thought you were an asshole. I thought you didn't like anybody because that was just I kind of used that persona in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, I kind of walked around with that mindset of, you know, kill or be killed, work hard, you know, this kind of mindset instead of kind of wearing this soft mannered face or, you know, whatever it was that most people do. Because I had a lack of skills and I hadn't really kind of figured out who it is that I wanted to be and how it is I should act in certain situations. I think an awful lot of people kind of struggle with similar problems.
Oh, absolutely. Like identity crisis is it is a thing. And another thing is assumptions. Like literally, as you said there, like as Barry said, like from the first time he met you, like and then he all of a sudden he made this assumption about you, and like it's not against him. Like we do it all. Well, everyone do it, like it's about situations in general, and like that's what I think. Like entitlements, comparisons, and assumptions are literally the thief of joy in life.
Yeah, like that's cool. Yeah.
Because I think like first of all, like we can be bad at communicating in general. So like straight up we've made an assumption about a situation and then we've got upset, you know, before we even tried to know the truth about any situation. Or and then comparisons, we're really good at that. Like social media has drove a big part of that. And I suppose I can speak about the way I've kind of controlled social media in a wee minute, but entitlements, like people just think because they've done something they're entitled to it, and it's like, where's the rule book to say because you did that you're entitled to it, you know? And that's it, but then they let themselves down with that. And another one, actually, they're just going to throw it in while I'm there, is expectations. You know, and you find that like this was another thing that was actually brought to light to me, and when I realized it, I was like, it makes so much sense. Expectations, we have expectations for certain people or just a situation, and then when you're let down you get upset, but like chances are like that person isn't even aware that they have let you down. They don't know you had that expectation for them, so like you're actually only upsetting yourself there, getting upset because they haven't known that they let you. It's different if you've aired it out to them what you wanted or like how you thought it was going to go, sort of thing, like just in general, like and then they've gone and let you down. That's different because they knew kind of like what was expected of them. But when you're in a situation where that person didn't know what you were expecting them to do, and then they let you down, and then you're there sitting there upset. You know, so that's another thing where I think it's like literally it's your thief of joy. Like you've got upset there, say over nothing, and that person's like being so clueless to it, and then that makes you angrier that like they're not like apologetic or whatever, or that they've let you down. And it happens.
Yeah, definitely get like that. Definitely, like I said, it's like I think we're all in our head. You know, it's like we all be in our head more than maybe we should. And like I said, all those things that you said, you know, expectations. What else we have? Assumptions, entitlement, and comparison. I think that they all have their roles and they definitely all have their uses. You know, it's like when you assume something about somebody, it's because, you know, we don't all have time to, you know, go over every single detail. So it's very it was very reasonable of Barry when he seen me to kind of go, all right, well, he's got a bit of a face on him. You know, I'm probably not gonna I'm not gonna go over there and, you know, go out of my way. You know, and you know, which is fair enough, and we all do that. It's, you know, we have to save time. We can't just go through everything with a fine tooth comb. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the way of it. And like I said, I think if we all just were, like you said, take this focus. You know, I think anybody listening to this should definitely start taking upon themselves to kind of start studying mindset and self-improvement. I know Stephen's life changed when he started down the road to self-improvement. My life changed. Everybody that I know.
Mine definitely has. Literally, I've had so much.
Yeah, anybody with any kind of substantial change, it's like, look, it's easier to change yourself than it is to change them. You know, it's like, it's nice to change them. You know, it'd be great if they'd make some changes. But at the end of the day, you can't change them. They can change them. And you can have an
influence. You can't change anyone. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned like playing the game of control and not control, like it's in your control and it's not like it's not in your control. Well, I actually don't even know if I did mention it, but it's a case of like you can't control anybody else. Do you know what I mean? But all you can do is control you and your own emotions. So like wanting to change them, like you're literally fighting a losing battle. Do you know what I mean? You can show them like different ways, and it's up to them. Like, you know, that's sort of way. It's kind of like, you know, what do they say? You take them on, or like you can take a horse of water, but you can't make them drink it. Like, you know, you can show them different things. It's up to them what they do with it. And then as well as that, what works for you doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for them. You know, it's like it's their approach, and it's like it's a your wasted battle trying to change someone else. You have to figure it for yourself, and that's even in all terms of situations. Like not just like not like in a relationship terms. That's like a friend looking for like advice if they have come looking for advice. There's only so many times you can ream it off to them, like what you would do or what you think you do or what you had done, but it's up to them what to do with it.
Yeah,
You froze
I
there.
completely agree. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Right, cool, Lauren, just kind of moving on, just again, we're talking about mindset.
Yeah, I know, I could talk about it all day. It's so bad. The girls kill me for it. I could just be off on a ramble.
I know, but I know here, like I think, like I said, I think it's completely important. I think we'll just kind of finish off the mindset with, do you have any kind of resources or any kind of books or information you've listened to that you think might send somebody down a similar path of interest on the whole journey of self-discovery?
The book I loved was Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I think that's what it was. Definitely, yeah. that one. Oprah's book has been really good. I know you're a big advocate for Jordan Peterson. I've tried to get in and out of him. I do find him a bit of a hard listen, but he literally has great. He does have great stuff. James Smith and Darren Cartel, both on Instagram. I've loved them and I've read James' book. I know it kind of fitness related, but I do like some of his attitudes to our mindset. And where else am I at? Just social media pages in general. I kind of would follow a lot of like self-love or positive affirmations or just like positive quote pages and stuff like that, because sometimes it's like just reading, it's like what you read, what you're surrounding yourself with, like literally just the positive attitudes, positive people, you know, like, and the more you seek the positive things around in your life, and again, it's what we were stemming back to there, like you're going to start conforming to positivity if you're around it a lot more.
That's a really, I like that. That's boom. Run that again, Peter. Play it again. That's the quote of the day. Yeah, conform to positivity. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Stephen made a point to me years and years ago, back when we were still in the community centre. I was kind of saying to him, you know, how do you program your timeline? And he's like, you know, it depends on the pages you follow. Like, you know, you or dictate what your phone feed looks like. So if you don't like it, if you know, I keep constantly hearing people kind of going off social media and all that kind of stuff. Like, don't go off social media. You know, manage your own page better. You know, it's like there's no, like, generally when I go onto social media, what I hear from other people, this negative, I constantly hear, you know, bad news and all this kind of stuff happening in the world. And yeah, it's a little bit, I've got my blinders on, but it literally is a case like I haven't got the mental capacity to deal with 7 billion people worth of bad news. So like 9 times out of 10, when bad news happens in the world, I don't hear it from my newsfeed. I see it from somebody else. You know, and
yeah, I'm literally totally the same. And that's another thing that I took in the last years, where I was saying earlier about how I controlled my social media, is like I just unfollowed a lot of the crap. And I unfollowed a lot of people that, and it was nothing against them, it was more my personal journey than against them. Like I probably have some friends out there that I don't follow, and like it's nothing against them, you know. So I just like, I literally just, there was just something about their timeline that like I just unfollowed. And I even like, I took some people off my followers because I was just kind of like, I don't really want you following me. Do you know that sort of way?
You can do that.
Yeah, on Instagram you can. But it was just in terms of, because I was like, you can't talk to me when you see me, so you're not going to follow me on social media. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and because I have this thing, I love to say hello to everyone. Like, you know, you said to me, I'm probably going to find this easy because I have the gift of the gab, and I do, like, you know, and I don't think you can say hello to someone and walk on, you know, that sort of way. Like, it doesn't have to be conversational. But anyway, back to what I was talking about, social media. I just drained it of a lot of the crap, and started filling it like that with more positive energies, really, and stuff that I was actually genuinely interested in, and that it's worked for me. I'm not saying it's the right way forward, but it's just found that like that, I'm like yourself, there's not a lot going on my page, like in terms of say negative things like that I need to know about. I find out more nearly from my mom or dad what's on the news or the girls or anything like that. It's just I just
If it's not important, the news will find you.
Yeah, and it is, because it's like I do think it's sad that some people like literally look for the approval and validation of the follows. Like I know there's apps out there that I know people have that like they actually will tell you who's unfollowed you, and people live by that and be like, oh my god, she's unfollowed me or he's unfollowed me. I'm like, why do you care? Do you know what I mean? Like, and I have to say I was always like that. That's just not a new thing for me. I'm just kind of like, I don't care who does or doesn't follow me or who I am or I'm not following, because like my page is just for me. I'm not posting for anyone's entertainment. I'm not one out there like that. I need people to follow me. As I say, like I've stripped my followers a couple of times, and I go in and out of following and unfollowing people. Yeah. Maybe I was at one stage about it, but more like, but I'm definitely not about it now. I know that much. The fact that I've actually took control of my social media in the last while, and I've made it that, like, because as I remember saying it with Stephen before, I was like, I actually really genuinely hate social media. Like I was like, I can't stand it. But it was Stephen that kind of, between Stephen and my friend Tracy, that put it into life for me. That was like, social media, it's a powerful tool, but like it's only really as dark as you make it, because again, it's in your control what you follow and what you don't follow.
Yeah. Unless, like I said, unless people are literally actively reaching out to you, and then it's a case of just blocking them.
Yeah. And that's just like...
So sorry, Lauren, so basically, we've kind of covered your achievements, we've covered your personal development of your mindset, we've covered kind of your white collar let's say career, your possible boxing career. Like I said, you've studied mindset, you've kind of applied it to your life, you kind of applied it to social media. So now what's next? What's the next step?
What's the next step? Well, right now where I'm at, I'm just still waiting for the government to confirm a date that I can get back to work. Okay. So I have to figure that out. I'm going to get back into work, get into swing things. We have to get football back up and running, but I'm injured at the minute, so I'm literally down the road of rehab and figuring out where I'm going with that. I'm getting an MRI next week, thankfully at long last, and I kind of hoping that something's going to show up, but nothing too bad, just so I can kind of rehab more accordingly with it and take my rehab next level. And look, I've got plans. I have to, and I'm all for the law of attraction, but sometimes some plans you need to just keep those cards close to your chest. Even silence. Yeah, no, good stuff. But it's career progressions, it's life progressions. I'm going to keep developing myself, because I am kind of an inquisitive person, that I kind of like to. I love like educating myself, and I love being on the know, and I love moving forward. Definitely. So I'm not ready to stay in the same place. I'm on the way up.
Stuff. Yeah, glad to hear it. So any kind of new fitness goals or anything like that? So any thoughts of running a marathon?
My fitness goals at the minute is, well, I can't run like that because my pelvis is interfering with me there. But like I'm getting back into the gym now, because thankfully it's back open again. My thing for June now is I'm working on, I just set myself a new plan. It's literally nothing wild or exciting personal goal. I had to get my eating back in order, and at the minute I'm trying to work up to do 5 pull-ups, because I can't do them. I can do 3 at the minute, so I'm on my way to that. Like, I want to try to do 5 by the end of June if possible. But like, it's for myself. Like, there's no big achievement at the end of it, only self-satisfaction. I want to get back running, but I have to figure out my injury first. In terms of physical composition, I'm not too bothered. I'm happy in my body. I'm happy in my skin right now. So but it's always a work in progress. I'll always be in the back of my mind working on it in some way. So that's where I'm at.
That's kind of something, it's like there is no finish line here. You're never going to be the finished product. You talk to any of the most successful athletes, businessmen, anything. Everybody is constantly grinding. Anybody successful does not ever stop. They're always looking for the next project. They're always looking for, what went wrong the last time, how do we improve the next time, and what's next? How are we going to keep this machine going? Because like I said, it's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about, you're supposed to enjoy your diet. You're supposed to enjoy your exercise. You're supposed to enjoy your hobbies. And we stop and smell the rose every once in a while, look back and give ourselves a pat in the back for how far we've come and the success that we've had. And hopefully you're surrounded by a community of people who help you and encourage you to do that, and praise you. And that's kind of where you get all your feelings. But really, at the end of the day, it's all about making progress, because you're never going to be the finished product. There's always going to be someone better than you. And like I said, as long as you're 0.5% better than you were yesterday, you're moving in the right direction. That's literally what it's all about. I was saying on the last podcast, Kira, it's like, let's say in that, because in boxing it's a kind of a good analogy. Let's say, for talk's sake, you met Lauren now from back before you met her in Fighting Fit, and it was you and her fighting in the white collar now. Who'd win?
Oh, me, hands down.
Who would win between?
No, me now. Like, sorry.
Who would win between? So you think you now would beat Lauren now versus Lauren in the white collar?
Oh yeah.
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 Good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Definitely. Just in terms of a lot, like, I'm not there anymore, and I have to say that I've always been very good at channeling my competition, like, as in the sense of, like, my competition has always been myself, and it always will be. Like, I know you can find a bit of, like, healthy competition sometimes when you go into the gym, and you kind of, like, someone's at the same level with you, and you kind of, like, might be eyeballing them in the corner, and you want to kind of, like, I'm going to get more reps than her today, or especially when we were doing the likes of the leaderboards and stuff like that. But I have to say, like, I really only compete with who I was yesterday in terms of the gym. Like, I know where I'm at sometimes, and I'm like, right, I want to get more, like, I'm lifting whatever this week, I'm going to get there, and I have to say, I'm very, very much selfish in self-care is how I kind of like to put it. Like, and I would really look after myself for the progression of myself, because like Brandon, I'm quite disciplined in knowing what I want. So and that really is outweighing my need for now. I'm very much working on, okay, I need to, like, live in the now, because, like, that's again how I'm trying to control my emotions, like, not going back there and not looking too far forward. But I do know where I want to go, and I'm going to get there. Do you know, that sort of way? But I know how I'm going to get there, but I just have to keep working on it now.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Fair play. And like I said, it's just that grind every day. Every day. Just put the head back to the grindstone, a little better, have a little look. Oh, a little bit sharper today. Cool. Let's keep going.
Yeah, and it's true. Like, because I was only just talking about it with Tracy last week, when, just in terms there, when you were talking about, like, how it's always going to be that physical journey. I'm working now at the minute with, say, progress pictures over the scales. I don't have them in the house. I jump on and off them at the gym. But anyway, I'm working off progress pictures. And from the start of lockdown to now, I was saying to Tracy, I was like, I've had 4 different body images. Like, I've literally, like, and I'm like, that's how much it has changed. And it's like, it's fluctuated, but it's like everything, like your life in general, it's gonna fluctuate. You've got ups, you've got downs, but like, you're gonna, and it's like I said it in a Facebook video a few weeks ago. I was doing work, and I was like, you've got speed bumps, they're not roadblocks. Like, you have to literally figure out how you get over them. And then it's like the same again. I love my little analogies and stuff like that. It's like climb the hills, or even walk the hills before you climb the mountains. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You got to figure it out. Just make small habits, like, fit into your life, and then, like, they're fluid, and then it's like become a bigger result if you want it. Like, you just have to find your discipline, and you have to find your why. Like, literally, that's one, like, thing that Fighting Fit has taught me as well. Like, that you need to try, and you have to find your why. And you have to keep reminding yourself of that why, because it's like, I love, like, if Stephen had a video up there recently enough about, like, motivation and stuff like that. So everyone's always looking for the motivation, but, like, it's that sort of, like, motivation that you have. Do you know what I mean? It's just like finding the focus in that motivation, and that usually comes from your why. Yeah. But it's finding, again, the positive motivation over the negative motivations, because negative motivations, like, they're just another world that you can stem into.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I find again, I think they both have their uses, but like I said,
Yeah.
positive reinforcement has been shown time and time again to work a lot better than negative reinforcement.
Yeah, I think it brings more consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not playing the stinging game, so you want to play the game. The game is not don't get stung. The game is there's a reward around the corner.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
if the game is well I'm going to sting myself every time I do wrong. Well, how many times are you going to get stung before you stop playing that game? Some people are really really tough minded, and some people enjoy the sting. There's all kind of
Yeah.
kinks for people who
There's
like
one.
pain, but
Yeah, there's one for me, right, and the highlights, and I kind of like cringe on myself even telling this story, but it's like it's the whole motivation of the revenge bod, if one would say, because it's kind of like, and that's where I find like that's a negative motivation in a
okay,
sense that like you go and you get this say revenge bod and like you feel good in yourself, and they have took like say absolutely like no notice at the end of it all, like or, like not that you wanted them to notice it anyway, but it's like it actually has meant nothing to them that you've got in new shape. Like they're still off over there, like living their life, that sort of way. And like you say, you've got to your end goal now. You're at your revenge bod, and it's like, oh, like where do I go to from here? Whereas like if you just literally focused on your revenge bod for you, do you know what I mean? Not like for in like literally revenge of them. Like you like do it for yourself. You know what I mean? Because you want to be better for yourself. You want to be better because you feel like you want to be a better place in your head, body, mind, everything for you.
Yeah.
You'll find you'll keep working on it long term, and you'll be more self-acceptance of yourself rather than like trying to use the motivation that like it was for them. You're still like you might be away from them, but you're giving them that power still over yourself and your body because you're trying to improve it for them, if you know what I mean, rather than for yourself.
Here's kind of what I think about that is I do kind of agree with some extent, but here's what I think. I think that people should take motivation wherever they can get it. Because some people are literally so unmotivated that, like let's say for talk's sake, I have a bad breakup. If I have a bad breakup and I get inspired to get this riggedy wreck body from that, let's say, quote unquote, negative motivation, it's like, well, then basically, I don't really care what motivation got me there until, and then as long as, it's not negatively, because right now that negative is I'm turning it into a positive. It's like
but that's the difference. You've said it there, Brandon. Though
exactly,
you've turned it into a positive. Like that was your starting motivation.
Yeah.
But I'm saying more so. I probably did word it wrong in the sense of don't let it be your ending, because like
exactly.
the ending of that motivation is just going to be that like, oh, where do I go here from next? Do you know what I mean? Whereas like if you work on your mindset to write it too and find the positive in why you've used that. Like, what am I getting out of this? Like, you know what I mean? It's not because I want to, like, say, go back there. Do you know what I mean? You want to move forward.
It's basically here's it's like for me. It's like I'm going to improve myself so much. You are going to be so sorry, and that's not negative. That's basically just going. Oh, by the way, see all that potential that I told you that I had. You were actually holding me back from tapping into that. Here it is.
Yeah.
Boom. This is what it looks like. See you later, bitch.
I hate that kind of like I have used a lot of my say analogies, if that's even the right word, in terms of relationships, but they do cross with other parts of life. But I just think that like being selfish and self-care and just like looking into mindset and just seeking the positive in every negative is literally going to be more fulfilling and purposeful to anyone's life, that sort of way, than a lot of what we do dwell on. And well, that's what I found for me anyway. As I say, it's not going to work for anyone else, but I just don't think that like you can go wrong with positivity. Like a little smile goes a long way. It's contagious. That sort of way.
Yeah, cool, Lauren. All right, cool. So we're going to leave you now, but one last little piece. Give the guys at home, somebody who's struggling for motivation, somebody who's just not where they want to be. They're not getting the results that they're getting. What advice do you have to give them? As one of Fighting Fit's most successful members, fantastic ambassador, athlete of the year, nominated for umpteen awards. What advice did you give them?
Join Fighting Fit. No, but it is because I just like obviously I'm not even just saying it as like I'm here. I'm with just 5 years. Yeah. I'm literally with Stephen before he even opened Fighting Fit, and like Yous are more than a gym, and I know Stephen tries to sell it like that, but it is like yous are more than the gym. Yous have become life coaches for me, and like yous have lived through so much of my life with me. So like you, like especially yourself, like you've kind of been my main coach throughout. It's just the times the gym that I go to, like the morning classes, and you have took me to difficult places in my life, asking me different things, but helping me realize, and like you are a big part of where I am now. Like it was never a 12-week thing for me, and like some people see it as a 12-week thing, some people continue forward, and I know I'm rambling on, but it's like I have to be thankful for everything you have done for me. It's like it's the reason I am still there 5 years later. But I just think that if people are going to just apply for it, is it 12-week or 16-week you do now?
No,
I don't even know. 12-week. That like if they're really just give it the 12 weeks, give it their all, and take the hardship that's with it, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, and like especially if they do it right, like not even just in terms of the food and the workout, if they actually like take advantage of and utilize the coaches and literally have them hard chats with themselves, they will honestly turn their life around for the better.
I agree. Yeah, I 100% agree. It's one of the reasons that we do what we do. Like I said, we see big value in coaching. Like I said, you know, there's gyms out there. Some programs work for some people. You know, some people work with programs, but some people need coaching. You know, coaching is honestly, it's one of the most valuable things out there. You know, it is literally.
It's literally been everything for me, because it's. I'll give you a laugh to finish on a high note. There last year when I kind of stepped away from the gym for a few weeks, when I just wasn't in a great mindset. I was here at home, and I was like messaging yourselves to say that like I just needed time to step back, and I was in my kitchen and I was bawling. I was hysterical, and my mom like came over to me and she was like, "Lauren, you do realize you're crying about a gym here?" And I was like, "But it's not a gym, Mom." I was like, "It's more than that." And but it's like she just didn't understand where I was coming from with it, and that's fine. But I mean, like, it can be more than a gym for you if you literally use it for what you are, you know, because you are more than a gym. And so I mean, the coaching aspect really has been and will always be, and it's, as I say, it's why I'm there 5 years and why I'm going to still be there probably in the next 5. You know,
but like I said, Lauren, just on the backside of that, you know, it's like you say, you're where you are because of us. You know, we're where we are because of you. Because you are with us 5 years, that's where we are today. You know, that's why we've been able to climb up, because of people like you kind of supporting us and giving it their all, really taking everything that there is to take out of the program. And then not only that, like especially like this, you know, the reviews mean an awful lot, and you jumping on here and sharing your testimonial and sharing your experience. You know, it not only helps other people, but it really does help us to kind of grow and continue to do what we love, which is coaching and help people. And I also feel blessed to kind of, you know, again, have you say all these wonderful, nice things about us and about me and how we've helped, because this really is what I enjoy doing. Like I said, I would sit here and talk from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. with you about mindset, and the fact that, you know, I get to do this for a living. It's honestly, it's just amazing. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I know myself and all the team are really, really grateful for your support.
You're very welcome, and it's going to be long continued.
Let's do it. All right, cool, Lauren. We'll wrap it up. We'll leave there. Do you want everybody to follow you on social media? You can always block them if you don't want them to follow you anymore.
Like, I mean, it's not all that interesting. You're going to see a lot of food. It's Lauren M_28.
Brilliant stuff. And guys, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's FF Movement Coach. The head honcho Stephen, who's helped myself and Lauren in many a way, is fighting_fit. Check us out. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can catch us on YouTube at Fighting Fit. This is the Fighting Fit Show, and you can catch us on Spotify as well. If you're listening on YouTube and you want to listen to this when you're out for a wee run. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been Brandon, that's been Lauren, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.